Hello, everyone. If you're just tuning in and can hear me, we'll get started in just a second. Just letting our Facebook Live page load here. If you're tuning in, feel free to say hi in the comment section. Let us know if you're a member of American Ancestors, if you've used our platform, American AncesTREES, where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you at the start of the program. All right. Hi, everyone. As I just said, feel free to put where you're tuning in from. If you've used American AncesTREES, if you're a member with us, we'd love to get that comment section going at the start of the program. Okay, great. So let's get started. So welcome to our most recent installment of Facebook Live. This time we'll be discussing our tree platform on AmericanAncestors.org, American AncesTREES. My name is Trisha Labby. I'm an events manager here at American Ancestors and New England Historic Genealogical Society. So I work behind the scenes on the logistics of many of our programs, and I'll be moderating today's event. American Ancestors and NEHGS is a nonprofit organization supported by our members and donors, like many of you in the audience today. We provide resources and expertise on nearly all aspects of family history, and we're pleased to offer such virtual programming for members and friends around the world. So our speaker today is Claire Vail. Claire is our Vice President for Digital Strategy and Communications here at American Ancestors. Claire has been with American Ancestors NEHGS for about 8 years. She heads our team who works on all of our databases and communications. She has 20 years of experience as a digital marketing and content strategist for high-profile institutions in higher education, publishing, and media. So today, Claire will lead our presentation on using American AncesTREES. After the presentation, we will have plenty of time for questions from the audience. So throughout her presentation, if you think of a comment or a question, feel free to type it in the comment section on Facebook, and we'll get to as many as we can in the time allotted. So before I pass it over to Claire, I also wanted to give a quick reminder that this presentation will be recorded and can be found both on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page after the broadcast. So if you're unable to attend this whole presentation live, or if anyone out there experiences any technical difficulties, you won't miss any content and can watch the recording on your own time. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to Claire to get started.
Thank you, Trisha, for that great introduction, and welcome everybody. I hope this is a wonderful start to a brilliant weekend, and I hope wherever you are, it's cooler than it is here. It is 91 degrees in Boston, and it feels it. So again, thank you for joining me. I am going to teach you about trees today, and like Trisha said, this will be recorded. There's also quite a bit of help for trees online. I'm going to be showing you where to access all the documentation about trees. So there's going to be a fair number of questions I probably will not be able to answer, deep dives into how DNA test results work on trees, and how you can use some of the more complex features. But never fear, there is a great deal of documentation, and there is also, in addition to this recorded Facebook Live event, there is an hour-long webinar, again by me, from a few years back, but it's still all good material, and that is available in the archive section of our online classes. And if we have time at the end, I'll just show you where that is, or Trisha can paste the URL in the chat. So you have plenty of backup. You don't have to take notes. I know everyone is an amazing note taker and researcher, but you don't have to do that. You can just enjoy the walkthrough. Okay, so why don't we get started? So I am going to, here I am at the homepage of our website. And I want to talk a little bit about trees in general, because what you don't see here is how to access trees. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, just a tiny little bit of background. So we launched Trees as a new application in 2017. We now have 12,000 individual tree users and many more trees, because you can have multiple trees. You don't only have to have one. This tree product is online only. There is no app. So you have to log in through the website, and you have to use it as it is. There is no separate phone or mobile app for trees. It is also not a desktop application. So again, logging through the website with your American Ancestors account is the only way to access trees. So there are desktop tree programs and there are online tree programs. This is the latter. This tree is free for our guest members and our paying members. There are a la carte plans for the tree, which I'll talk about with more features in them. But if you have never created, if you don't have an account on American Ancestors at all, I'm going to show you how to create a guest account, and then you will immediately have access to trees. If you're a paying member, but you never have created a tree, I'll show you how to do that. And if you already have trees, then you've experienced how to go through some of that. Okay, so another question I want to cover before we start is, how is our tree different from other online tree products? So as you know, Ancestry, Find My Past, My Heritage, all have trees. Family Search has a tree. So we've joined that marketplace happily, and we wanted to have some points of distinction from some of those trees. Now, we created this 3 years ago, so what we're not doing is looking constantly at what the other trees are, what other new features are rolling out on a daily basis. So some of you who have multiple trees with multiple providers may be able to tell me, yes, they've introduced that feature that used to be only in your tree. So one of the major things about our tree that at least 3 years ago was very different was that you can get hints from multiple providers. So we worked with other providers to do the code development so that we can get hints through their APIs. So you'll see when we get into the tree settings that there are a number of checkboxes you can check off to get hints from a lot of different providers, and there's free providers and there's paid providers. So obviously for the paid providers to get the full data, you'll need a paid account on the website. But they will serve up at least the initial hints for free so that you can see, yes, my ancestor has a hint on Ancestry or on My Heritage, and then I might want to get an account on those sites so I can get access to that data. Okay, so that's the major distinguishing feature. We do had 3 years ago, DNA tools were brand new, so we were fairly cutting edge then. A lot of other trees I know have introduced DNA tools, but that's another pretty nifty thing to be able to take advantage of. So why don't we dive in? And here you are on the homepage of American Ancestors. One thing you'll want to know is what level of access you have to the site. And a quick way to do that is to look at the Join and Renew page here. So I just click the button right here, and you can see this exposes all the different membership levels, all the different membership types you can have. Now, if you have no account with us, you can certainly buy an account, and we encourage that, or you can just create a guest account. So I'm going to just show you this. I already have a guest account created, but I'm going to show you it really needs a minimum of information. So email and password, and then your first and last name, and then you can sign up. That will change your navigation. So if I close out of that and I go back here to the homepage of the website, what you're going to see, and I'm going to log in now with my fake guest account to show you. So my name is not Jane, but you can see up here, that my navigation has changed. So when I first went to this site, I didn't have anything up here. Now I have several new options, and one of them is a greeting, but you can see this second account, or this second option here, is create a tree. So this is how to create a tree. And there's going to be 3 origin points for your tree. And I'm going to walk through all three possible origins for your tree, and I'm going to walk through all 3 methods. But first, let's go to plans and pricing. So I just hovered over create a tree. I didn't click on it, and right below it is plans and pricing. So here you get to a page. Once you have trees, you're not going to see this. So I'm showing this to you now. There's a little bit of introductory copy about trees. There's a link to our privacy policy. And I know a lot of you will have questions about data privacy, and I'm going to cover some of the major facts there. Now you can click on this gold button and go directly to accessing trees, but I want to show you very, very quickly what you have access to. So as a guest or a research level member, you have access to the standard tree, which is pretty powerful. So you're going to see that you can invite people to the tree, you have unlimited hinting, and you can download the web clipper. And you have 2 gigabytes of data as a maximum, which is about 500 photos. If you want to get rid of the advertising you're going to see, you can purchase the advanced tree. That's the middle level plan. And if you want private trees, so all your trees are public in the first 2 level plans, but if you want the ability to create private trees, and there's plenty of reasons you might want to do that, you can purchase this plan a la carte on top of your membership, or just as a guest. You don't have to be a paying member. You can purchase it for $35 a year, and that raises your total data limit, as all these tree plans, the next 2 tree plans do. So you can do a lot from this page, and you can access this whole plan, all this functionality from within trees as well. But I just wanted to show you this right here. Okay, so now we're going to go up to create a tree, and I'm going to click on create a tree. So there are 3 methods to creating a tree. The first thing you have to do for all 3 methods is to choose a username. So this has nothing to do with your American Ancestors account. This is just, I'm going to try to find something that isn't in use. There we are. It'll tell you if that's already taken. So this is a silly name, but I can change it later. Now you have to look at these 2 checkboxes here. I have read and agreed to the terms of use and privacy policy. You have to check that off. That's not checked by default. What is checked off is send me a weekly email with new leads and updates. So if you don't check this off, you're not going to get an email saying your Jetcom file upload was successful. So you probably want to leave that checked. All right, and let's go on to the next screen. So this is where you choose a name for your tree. So these, you can have multiple trees. I mean, some of the people who work here have 30, 40, 50 trees, and you can have more than that. So you're going to choose a name for your tree here. And so I'm going to call this a very uninteresting name here, import from scratch. And you can see here are the 3 methods I was talking about. Start with an empty tree, import a Jetcom file, and import people from family search. So we're just going to start with an empty tree. I'm going to try to go quickly through this because a lot of this is pretty obvious. What you're going to see now is a video on the right-hand side that's a tutorial. It's a short tutorial, not like the webinar that I mentioned, and not like this. But, you know, a little bit of information and advice on what you should be doing and thinking about. So here it's going to ask who I want the root person of my tree to be. So I'm going to use my own name and check off my gender. And I'm going to make myself a whole lot younger, because why not, right? So I'm going to make myself youthful here. and I'm not dead quite yet. So I'm going to go on to the next screen, and I'm going to type in some information about my father. Now, it wants the date in a certain format, but it will just do that for you, so you don't have to get that exactly right. So I'm going to make him younger too. So there we go. Now, we get this question a lot. For some of you, this is kind of intuitive. You can type in the place name and it will auto prompt places. You don't have to choose something here. You can just keep typing. So I'm going to be lazy and just choose something from the menu. You don't have to. So if your name, if your place name is not there, my mother's name is not Gertrude, but we'll just keep going quickly here. You can just keep on typing and put in a place name if you don't see where they're actually from. So let's see, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and we'll keep going there. So now you can see that it's put me as the root person for the tree, and it's got my father and my mother, and then I can continue to add additional people. So this is really a from scratch method. So what I want to show you right now is the other way, or the other two ways to create a tree. So we're not going to walk through the menu just yet. We're going to come up here to this left-hand navigation. This is important to note, that you can click on this plus sign here, and it's going to show you the tree that you just imported, or I'm sorry, that you just created. This should say create from scratch, not import. And now you can create a new tree. So I'm going to show you that one more time. Right up here, the first thing in the menu, you go to the plus sign and you can click new tree. So this screen looks familiar, right? It's our start screen. So I'm going to create a new tree, and this is going to be my Jetcom import. So it allows me to have spaces here, but not for my username. So second method, import a Jetcom file. So now it wants me to identify the root person of the tree in the Jetcom file. So I already know this. I already know who this is going to be. But you probably want to check and have somebody in mind who actually is in the Jetcom file. So I'm going to choose file here, and I've got to find the Jetcom. Should be here somewhere. If we can't, we already have it uploaded somewhere else. So downloads maybe. There we go. Right here. So there's my Jetcom file. You can see that it has an extension of .ged. It won't take any other kind of file. That's what you need. So what is, for some of you who don't know what is a Jetcom file is a file type that will have all your tree information. If you're using another tree provider, for all tree providers that we've checked out, except for Family Search, there's a very clear way to export your Jetcom file. So whether you're using a desktop tree application or an online application like AncesTREES tree application, you can find a way to export that file. And in our help documentation, we've looked at the major providers, and we've provided detailed instructions for how to do that in case it's not obvious. Now you have a limit of 75,000 people in your Jetcom file in this tree application, and up to 75 megabytes. So 75,000 is a pretty gigantic tree. I'm going to show you a tree with 17,000 people in it. So I want to talk a little bit about the time it takes to download or import rather. So this is a rather small file that I'm importing right now, and it's going to take about 2 minutes to do this. And so what you're going to see here is this gray importing box, and this will turn a different color and say, it'll turn gold and say next or go when I'm finished. If I try to upload a very large file, let's say with 40,000, 50,000 people, we could be here for hours waiting for this to finish. So I've already done this in another account, so we can skip over to that and take a look at how that's going to work. But over here on the other side, you can see there's different kinds of hints on this screen. So it's going to tell you more about different features in the tree. And I'm just going to see if, give us this a few more seconds, if it'll import, because I kind of want to go on with this account. Let's see, come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, I don't know. So let's refresh. I want to show you what this menu will look like. Oh, one thing to note, don't close out of your browser while you're importing, because that'll wreck the process. So here's something I spoke about before. Now you can see, you don't see that create a tree option. Now you see my trees. And you can see, actually, it does say Jetcom import. So there we go. It finished while I was messing around. So here is, now I've landed in my Jetcom imported tree, and you can see that Amanda Hinchman is the root person for this tree. So this tree goes the other direction because Amanda was born in 1809, and in this particular file has no ancestors. So her descendants are visible this way. So if I want to make a descendant a root person, now you're going to see Amanda move out. And then you can see all this information here. Okay, so third way to create a tree. You can see here's my Jetcom import tree, and here's my created from scratch tree. We're going to go back and do this a third way. And I'm just going to call this third tree. And I'm going to import people from family search. So here we go. Now I have already logged into family search. No, I haven't. I thought I had. Okay, so let's log in. There we go. So you can see my, if you don't have a family search account, you're going to need one. So you can't import anything if you don't have anything. You need a tree to be able to import from. So here's my ID for family search. And you can see that I can import up to 4 generations of ancestors and 1 generation of their descendants, or up to 8 generations of ancestors without descendants. So you can use these sliders to adjust what you want, but it's going to tell you if you've got too many there. So I'm just going to see how many it will let me get away with. My tree is not very big, so it shouldn't take very long. And then I'm going to hit import. And you can see it flashes, and these are real people in my life. You can see the names come up as they're being imported. So all their data is going to come over and make it into our application, which is really nice. Now, if we have time, I'm going to show you later on, if you have a very large tree, you obviously can't import everybody in this step. But once you've imported the core, you can see it's complete now. Again, pretty small tree. You can go to the end of line ancestor in your family search tree through our trees application and import more. And it's just going to take you back to the screen and say, okay, for your great-great-grandmother, do you want to go back another 4 generations? And so you can keep importing all of your family search tree until you have it completely in here. Okay, so all done that. Now we have created 3 trees. So I'm actually, I want to show you what this looks like in my other account, because I have access to a few more interesting things. So I'm going to log in with my real account here. Still a guest account, but you can see it's really me now. So it's welcome, Claire. So I'm going to come up to my trees and I'm going to show you one of my colleagues' trees. Now this is going to take a few seconds because he has 17,000 people in his tree, but he's done some amazing research. And so a lot of the features, you know, he's taken full advantage of the features. So this information is going to look a lot more robust in this tree. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the menu here so you have a sense of everything that you can do in this tree. So this is Don LeClaire, who is heading up our database operation quite wonderfully. And so these are his real ancestors. So the first thing I'm going to look at here, well, let's start with tree settings. So this is nice and simple. So I can choose what default view I see of the tree, and what landing page I'm coming to when I load the tree. So my options are what you see, what you've been seeing, which is that root person and the family tree chart. But you can also make the dashboard your landing page, or you can make, if you do have DNA matches, you can make that the landing page as well. So this is your choice, a little bit of customization. And then you can also, if you choose the tree view, you can choose a different graphical representation of your data. So there's multiple graphical representations, and they're very cool to look at, and I'll show you those. But you can switch around to fan or fan chart or an ancestors and descendants look. You can change the root person for your tree. So let's say you're planning a family reunion and you have a gigantic tree, but you want to create a tree with your cousin as the root person, because you want your cousin to get excited and see this from their perspective. So you can change it to your cousin and then share the tree with your cousin and say, this is what it looks like from you going back in time. Okay. So here you can do a few more customization things. You can customize your timeline to show non-principal events. So, if a person is a witness at a marriage, they can be in a record, but that's not a principal event in their life. So that's what that would mean. And I'll skip over a couple of these more exotic features here. You have the option in your global tree settings. Now, remember, this is not global all your trees. You don't have a setting like that. All the tree settings are per tree. So here you can change the name of your tree. And you can select, now I can't do this because Don has shared his tree with me, so I wouldn't want to change the name of Don's tree, but my own trees I can change. So here you have privacy. So if you have the premium account, you have the option to make your tree data private. Nobody can see it but you and the people you choose to share it with. So that's very important to some people. We were kind of surprised by how many people said, yes, that's a feature that we want. Okay, so public versus private. Color displays. So in the fan chart, you're going to see these in action. So if you don't like the color displays, you have a whole bunch of options and you can make some beautiful trees. That's really nice, particularly if you are printing these trees. So we have a reports feature that will allow you to do some beautiful reports. And so you can customize all the colors. You can also customize colors for DNA matches and tags. This is nice and fun to play around with. Down at the bottom, you're going to see the option, and again, I can't do this because it's Don's tree, but I can do it to my own trees, to export a Jetcom. So this gets into kind of, if you want to take your tree and walk away from us, and you can still have an American Ancestors member account, doesn't matter. Trees and the membership, except for logging in, are completely separate. So you could export your Jetcom, and then you can delete your tree. And we don't have that, we don't keep a copy. So we're not holding on to a copy of any of this. Your data is gone. And so you have to be careful when you do that, because you can't call us and say, please, can I take that back? Can you retrieve the tree? We cannot. Now you can do this for the tree, and you can also do this for your entire account with all your trees. You can delete them all at once, and you can delete your memory from this system completely. Okay, so that's tree settings. Let's go on to hint settings. And actually, let me switch over to one of my own trees, because I want to show you, same menu, but I want to show you what this looks like without things being grayed out. So this asks me who I want hints for. And I talked about us being a clearinghouse for as many hint providers as we could find who would work with us. So, some places don't provide hints unless you have a paid account with them. So Ancestry and MyHeritage are not going to provide hints because they don't want that clearinghouse effect. We are a nonprofit, so we're not really in this to make any more money than we need to support the product. Okay, so these three checkboxes allow you to turn hints on or off for different people, for multiple people in your tree. So you can click if you want just hints from direct ancestors. So no cousins or aunts or uncles, just your parents, grandparents, or people at the end of lines. So if you've done a lot of research and you don't need to fill in a whole tree, you can just do end of lines, or you can do everyone in your tree. This can be a little problematic if you have a gigantic tree. You may get a message saying, no, you can't do this. So we're working to see if we can remove that requirement, or get past that requirement rather. Okay, so who do you want hints from? So this breaks down into two types of sources: historical records, so that's, you know, data in records like database collections, but actual record data. And you can see, you can get hints from Family Search, Find My Past. Now for Find My Past, you need a paid account to get the full record, but you can get hints from them. You'll hit a paywall at some point if you follow that hint down the path. And you can get hints from us, but you need a paid account on American Ancestors to get all the hints from all the databases that we do hinting for, because you know, we have some of our databases behind the paywall. So two of the popular databases we provide hints for are the GSMD applications and the Silver Books. Those are both behind the paywall databases. They do provide hints, but you would need to have a paid account with us. You can't get around the paid requirement by having a guest member account and going through this method. Sorry. We need to pay the bills. So that's American Ancestors. And then you have Roots Point. So this is NYC marriage licenses. They opened up their API. You can get hints from them. Open Arch gives you Dutch and Belgian archives. And then you have the other kind of hints, and these are collection-based hints. So these are recommend, or I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. These are actually online trees. So when we did the user research for this product, people said, you know what, I have my tree on Family Search, but I don't like the fact that anyone can edit my data because I'm a good researcher, and there's lots of people who are not good researchers who have trees. I don't want garbage hints from their trees. So if that's the case, and you do not want hints from the Family Search family trees, you can just uncheck that box. You can still get hints from their databases up here. Now, to do that, Family Search is happy to give you hints from their databases, but the server is going to take the copy of your public tree and put it in the Family Search trees area. So you can't get something without giving something. So if you have a private tree and you want to keep it private, don't check this box off. You're not going to get Family Search hints. You can't get it for nothing. Okay. So the other online trees providers is Genealogies Online, and that's Dutch family trees. So I'm just going to actually keep these clicked, and I'll save that. Okay. And getting hints requires me to log into Family Search. Okay, so let me move up here to Dashboard. And at this point, I'm going to go back to Dawn's tree to show you a little bit of a more robust setting. Let's see. That's going to take a few seconds to come up. Again, 17,000 person tree, but it's worth waiting for, I promise you. Come on, tree. There we go. Okay, so you can see this is my view of the trees. If I go to this little gold down button here, here's where I get different graphical views of the tree. So you can see there's my fan chart. Doesn't that look magnificent? So here's my, you know, matrilineal and patrilineal lines. And you can see as I scroll around, I can click into a person and then it will show me their profile. I'm not going to do that because we need to stay on track. Other graphical views here, you can get, come on. Oops. There we go. You can get this kind of nifty view, and you can move it around. There we go. We're going into people's profiles there. One thing I want to mention is if you have the standard plan, see how I can hold my mouse down and drag this around? So let's say that you have a gigantic tree and some of it is obscured by those annoying tile ads on the right. Just hold down your mouse and drag your tree out from underneath those annoying tile ads, or buy the advanced plan or the premium plan and they won't have annoying tile ads. But you're not stuck. We're not deliberately obscuring any data that you have, just a note. Other tree views here. You can just keep going back in time. You can double click to make this larger. This is going to slow things down a little bit, I think, to show you all these. So I would have fun and explore some of these other views. There's at least 6 different views here. And you can print these out. And there's a beautiful fan chart printing feature in the reports option here. Okay, so we're going to go, we already looked at dashboard, or maybe we didn't. No, we didn't fully look at dashboard. So dashboard is kind of your executive summary of what's going on in your tree. So it's a little obscured here, not for you, but for me. But up here in the upper right-hand corner, you have a summary of how many people are in your tree, how many hints are in your tree, how much media is in your tree. So this is a snapshot numbers-based summary of what's going on in your tree. And you can see Don works on his tree quite a bit. So he has made some recent additions. He's uploaded some photos of his gorgeous daughter there. And here we have a feature I really like. This is kind of cool for slideshows, if you're doing presentations or you want to do a presentation at a reunion or something. This dashboard aggregates data that's in your tree. And so you can see here, the green circles show the number of events you've had in your tree and where they happened. So Don's family emigrated from Europe, largely from the UK and kind of Northern Europe here to America and Canada. One person bounced over to Australia at some point. So you can see the green events show where most of the things are happening: birth, death, marriages, and the gray lines show migration routes. Just a cool snapshot, aggregating all your data. This is that same beautiful daughter, but much younger. This is Don. This is a walk through Don's life. I'm going to show this, even though this little sample image is broken. This is another interesting view of all your data, and I think this is a cool feature. So just that sample image is broken, but the actual function is not. So if you click into historical lifespan, this analyzes all the death data in your records, and you can see for Don's family, and probably for a lot of American family, or a lot of families in the world. So the blue line is men, the pink line is women, and you can see an interesting trend here, which is that the men lived longer in the 19th century and then started to dip below the women in the 20th century. So it's the opposite for women: lower lifespan in the 19th century, and then it starts to get much higher than the men in the 20th century. So a couple things account for that, because this is only going up to 39, probably World War I and World War II, and also for women not dying in childbirth. So that's my take on the mortality analysis here. So I'm going to X out of this, go back to the dashboard. Just a quick way to see everything that's going on here. So next feature down is people. So this is a snapshot of all the people in your tree. Now you can move things around by clicking on names. So it's going to give you some alphabetical orders here, or it can go with, you can go from earliest, and this is very cool in Don's tree because he's got all these Viking ancestors here. I'm guessing they're Viking. So let me go back to sorting the names. I just want to show, hang on, let me go back out here. I just want to show you one of my favorites. I messed up the names column, so I'm just going to go back into this feature really quick. So if I look at births, I guess I got to scroll down to see some of the earliest births. Maybe not. Okay, so you have first, last, birth, death, and then you have some stars here to show how many sources there are. So the more gold stars you have, the better sourced the information is. But you can note from some of these names, we're going way back in time to the 11th century. And I wanted to show you, if he comes up, he's got an ancestor in here who was born in 1785 called Ragnar Leather Leggings. And I just really get stuck on that every time. I love it. So you can, it's just a convenient way to look at all the people in your tree at once. Okay, so on to media. This is where you can upload all kinds of files. So you're not restricted. You can have photographs, you can have movies. You can have whatever you like. If you're doing an oral history project with your whole family, that can all make it in here. And you can also attach all that media to specific profiles for that specific person. And then you can build a little movie. There's a way to do a narrative here. So you can record yourself talking about your family and your family's history. Okay, so on to hints and to-dos. So this is exactly what it looks like. It's a record of every hint I've gotten for a person. So this combined with the next feature here, research logs, allows you to kind of make a note about the quality of a hint. So if here I've gotten a hint from our own database here, this is The Great Migration Begins. And if I click on that, I'm going to see all the material in that hint. So it's going to say, you know, who this is for. It's for Stephen Hopkins. And it's going to say, here's all this information from the American Ancestors database. So at this point, I think I can I can edit the hint and change information. I can also make a note through my research log that this is a good quality hint and I want to incorporate it into the profile. And so you can see over here, the screen continues and this little plus sign is going to take you to your to-do list. But you can also access that same to-do list through your research logs. So this is, again, just what it looks like. Is you can see here for people, and you can search for people in your trees. So let's see if we can do that really quick. I don't want to run out of time. There's so much to show you. We can always do a part 2. So, you know, this will search, it may only search for people I've done research logs for. That's what it does. But you can see here that Alice de Mortimer is in my tree, or in Don's tree. And so he has made a note to check for a census record for Alice. So where this is useful is if you are making a trip to a research library and you want to make a note in this online application, so you can access this from the library's computer, it gives you a to-do list. And you can say, okay, I'm sitting in the library, I got to check all these records for all these people, and then I can import the information into my online tree. On to DNA profiles. So I'm not going to dive too deep into this. It gets pretty complex. But what you can see here is, here's Don. He's got the premium account. So he's uploaded several source kits for DNA testing. He's got an ancestry kit. He's got GED matches. So I am going to go into his profile here, and it takes you all the way down to the chromosomal level here. So if you look at Living Allen, who's one of his, I think it might be his mom actually, you can see that she is indeed fully related to Don. If she were not, you'd see some exceptions to this blue color. So you can see that's the matrilineal line, I believe. And so it shows exactly where they're related, and then it gives you a snapshot of their family history. So again, I won't go too deeply into this, but this is a pretty cool feature, and it gets pretty complex. Okay, so I'm in invitations and users. I'm going to show you that really quickly in, let's see, do we have time? I can show you that in another tree really quickly, because again, I can't invite people on Don's behalf. So here I am in another tree of mine. So I can invite family members or anyone, doesn't have to be a family member, we don't care who you're inviting. You click this plus sign here and you can invite anyone you like to your tree, and critically, you can decide what level of access they have. So if you fill out somebody's email address and then you fill out their name, first and last, let's say it's Susan Smith. Susan Smith, I'm going to say, can view my tree. They're going to get an email. Susan Smith will get an email that says, Dear Susan, here's a URL to access this person's tree, my tree, and you have view access to Claire Vail's tree. And so she will have to click a link. If she doesn't have an American Ancestors free account or paid account, she's going to be directed to create one. Remember, that only takes a few seconds to do. And then she'll be able to click through and see the tree, just like I'm looking at Dawn's tree. So very useful feature to be able to plan reunions in particular. And then there's a list here of all the people you've invited, so you never have to remember or forget who you've invited to see your tree already. Okay, so I'm going to go into reports because this is my favorite feature. So you can see there's many different styles of reports. What this does for you, and I'm going to go back to Dawn's tree because it's much more impressive in Dawn's tree. So if you click on a topple, so this is I believe it's your oldest ancestor going back, or it's the root. It's whoever you choose actually for the root person, and then it's go forward, gonna go back. I can't quite remember, but you can choose the number of generations to show, and then you click go. It compiles this report and saves it to your downloads. So you really have to do nothing at all. And it's going to show you generation 1, 2. So indeed, it does go from the root backwards. Here's your report. It's fantastic. It's all done for you. You didn't have to do anything. I mean, you had to import your tree, right? So going back to reports, or sorry, you can include media in your report. So it'll include the photographs. You can do different styles of reports. So this is showing you a quick snapshot of what the structure of the report looks like. So again, you can change the root person. You can use the slider to determine how many generations. You can do this gorgeous fan chart report. Don't you love it? So if you, I get so excited about the fan chart. So let's say, again, you're planning a reunion, you're doing a presentation, you want to show your fan chart, you can download this. And if you have a nice size printer, you can print this out. It looks beautiful. Let me just show you root person here. Look at that. So it's got everyone's name. It says paternal ancestors, maternal ancestors. It's readable, it looks good, and it's free. So I find that a pretty compelling feature. There's many others here. I won't do them all, but please do check out reports. It's well worth the price of admission. Okay, so those are the left-hand navigation elements. If you don't want to see them, you don't have to see them. So I've already signed up to receive hints, but I just want to show you these 3 lines at the very top left of your screen. If you don't want to see in the navigation, you can hide it. So there you go, hidden navigation. And then you can use this plus sign. I'm over here on this side of the screen. You can use this plus sign to get a shortcut menu. So if you like more real estate, you're using a tablet. Now, I wouldn't recommend using a smartphone. You can try it, but I think you're going to drive yourself nuts. You can use this shortcut menu to do most of the major things that you want to do while working within your tree. This question mark takes you to the support center. So this is it. This application, you know, it's expensive to support applications. Speaking now as the VP for technology here, it's expensive to have this. So, you know, we want to keep this low cost or free in this case, which means that we want to provide you with as many ways as possible to help yourself before emailing us or talking to us. And it's convenient for you too. So the support center here has 50 articles that will explain pretty much every feature in the tree. So if you forget something I've said, if you don't feel like watching the videos, you can start just by typing in a topic, and it's going to tell you, here are all the possible questions you could answer about a Jetcom. What is it? How to use it? How to import it? How to, what the limits are. So, anything that you want to know, just start typing and it'll prompt you. Or alternatively, you can just look at these articles, and we've segmented them out into different subject types. So one more time, that is back in the trees interface here, that is under your question mark. You also have access to help videos. You have access to this plans and pricing information that I went over here. And now I'm up under help, but this is also accessible under, you can see my user account. So this is for all my trees. This is my American AncesTREES account. I can delete it completely. So if I have built 50 trees, and you know what, I'm done. I want to leave. I'm, moving to Thailand, and I'm never doing genealogy again. Doesn't matter. I don't know why I chose Thailand. It feels remote. So anyway, you come here and you can delete your account. Now, I'm even afraid to do this, which is why we put it in the danger zone. If you click delete my account, you're going to get a little dialog box like you saw before. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? And it's going to make you type your username. Once you do that, you can hit yes, delete. I really do want to delete. And it eradicates you entirely from the system. So this gets to privacy, right? We don't keep a copy. If you delete your individual tree, it's gone. So if you have 50 trees, you delete one, that one is gone, no getting it back. If you delete your account and you have 50 trees, they're all gone and you're gone. So it's all done. We do not hold a copy of your data. Now, if you have public trees, those trees are exposed to the wide world. And so people can find you. People can find your deceased people, not living people. That information is not exposed. Okay, so back into our regular tree, the stage for this application here. Search bar at the top, you can search for a person in your tree. I believe there's a couple Amandas. So you can see, I can search for a person in my tree. I am not searching other people's trees. We don't have that feature yet. It's possible we could introduce a way to search American Ancestors community trees. We don't have it right now. So you're just searching for people in your own tree. Okay, so let's go back to Don's tree and let's take a look at the person profile. So this is where you're going to do a lot of work, I think. Or you can see a lot of the data. So this is kind of a truncated view of the full profile view. And I'm going to now go into the full profile view. Kind of looks like Facebook if you use Facebook. Well, obviously use Facebook. That's where we are. So you're going to see if there were a photo here, you'd see the photo, but you're going to see the basic data for this person's profile. So in this case, this is Don's father. And you're going to see all of the events chronologically laid out from earliest to latest on this left-hand side. And then you're going to see stuff about people related to him over on the right-hand side. So that's the way the screen is divided. These icons right under the main area here at the top are extremely important. They're not just there to look pretty. They are there to give you a lot of power. And I'm going to walk through those in a second. But first I want to show you, you have the ability to collapse or expand, so you can see very specific stuff, lots and lots of source material for the birth of Don's father from Ancestry and all kinds of records. So, we definitely know he did exist and was born in Illinois. So, that's your timeline there. You can see you got little icons and everything to indicate what the event was. And then you can see the gold stars are for sources, and there's other information here about the type of source. The thing to look at here, because you can explore a lot of these features on your own, is how to add a new event. And so there's a walkthrough wizard for this, and I'm going to do that. But I want to show you right here, I like this feature, it's add story. So I don't know about your family, but my family, lots of family lore, lots of funny stories that often come up at major events like funerals. And you want a way to record that information. So my grandfather was a construction worker who liked getting practical stuff for gifts. He hated the kind of thing I think of as gifts. He would rather get like scissors and masking tape. So I'd love I'd love to record that story here somewhere, make a note. If it were my dad or my grandfather, that's what I would be recording for posterity, is kind of the colorful stuff about him. So that's a way to do that. Now I'm going to go to add event, because this is what the heart of the tree building process is all about. So here you can see adding an event or fact. You have type, details, source, people, and profiles. So this little wizard here is going to walk you through each of those 5 stages. So if I want to add, now obviously his birth is well recorded, but if I can choose birth, I can choose christening, baptism, marriage, divorce. You can see the other things here. There's also quite a lot of other types of facts or events that can happen to a person in their lifetime. You want to record what they did for a living, whether they had military service. That's all here. If you don't see it here, you can customize by adding it yourself. So let's say, he was a famous writer, and this is when he published his first book. So publication record could be here, or something, some specific thing. So on to details. This is just what it looks like. You would enter in the details for that fact. Now, I'm not going to do it here, but if you have the web clipper, so the web clipper is a free download from in Chrome or Firefox. And you just go to Chrome or Firefox, and there's a prompt here within the interface that says download the web clipper. That's going to give you a way to automatically clip data from online records. So it's pretty awesome. And maybe I can demo it another time. It essentially brings up a screen with all that data and then just gives you buttons that you can click, and it just does it for you. So you don't have to type anything. You can just say, yes, I want to import his date of birth. Yes, I want to import his place of birth. Oh, no, this record happens to be incorrect about the spelling of his last name. I don't want to import that. I want to write that from scratch myself. So it allows you to make the process of entering data a whole lot faster, but it also allows you to be granular about what you select. You can upload media here, and you can add comments. So very, very highly customizable. This is your source and citation for that particular record that you're adding. Now we get to people. So, obviously in a census record or other types of records, marriage records, sometimes there's more than just the core person. There might be witnesses, there might be the priest, there might be, or the officiant. So there might be a lot of other names that you want to bring into your person's record. This number 4 step allows you to do that. So you can see it makes some assumptions about who's on the record. But you can add facts, and it prompts you for the type of facts. So like, you can see adoption, and anything else you might want to start typing here. It's going to do a prompt menu, or you can add your own custom setting. And then you can add more people. So like, let's say you're importing from a census record, you have the father, his mother and father, and then maybe all the people that were living in the household at the time. So you can add all those people and then add information about those people. On to profiles. So this allows you to either update the profile with what you've added or not. You can just kind of keep it in storage here and not do anything about it. So if you have a record, and you want to import that record to this point, but you don't want to bring it into the profile, you have that option. And then you would save at the bottom, which I'm not going to do. A nice feature that's algorithmic here is that it calculates whether there's some inconsistencies in your data potentially. So here there's a note that that his father was buried more than 1 month after the death. If you have people who, if you have erroneous information, like, somebody's child was born when they were only 5 years old, when the mother or father was 5 years old, that's probably wrong. So it's going to call that out just based purely on the dates that you've entered. Okay, very quickly on to the icons here. So these are very hard to see in this view. I can maybe expand a little bit here, zoom in a little bit. So you can see here, I can barely see it. Tree just takes you to the same screen. Bookmark allows you to bookmark this particular person. Hints can be turned on or off. So you can see the star is empty, the star is full. So if the star is full, you are getting hints for this person. So you remember in the hint settings over here, you can turn on hint settings there, or you can also turn on hint settings for individuals by using this star on particular people. So with this whole application, which was developed, by the way, by Dallin Quass, who at one point was, for a long time, was the chief technology director for FamilySearch.com. So passionate genealogist, also an incredibly experienced and hugely smart software developer. Not too many of those together in the field, and he's marvelous. So, he poured his knowledge of genealogy and his expertise in technology into developing this product, and we worked with him closely on interviewing our membership about the features they wanted to see, and that's the product you're looking at as the result of over 100 hours of interviews, one-on-one user sessions, and tests with people. So we didn't just think this up and launch it the next day. Okay, so if you come here to research, you get a number of options. So here under search hints, you're going to see, I mentioned these before, these are collections in different places that, based on the facts in David Vincent Leclerc's profile, that this application thinks David might show up in. So this is really useful, particularly if Ancestry is not providing hints. You can look, this will say, oh, well, there's several collections that Ancestry has that, this person might be in or is likely to be in based on their data. And there's a couple other features there I'm not going to get into. There's GenSmart's hints. There's other kind of options to help you explore what source data might be out there for this individual. And then you can do this cool evidence report that kind of catalyzes everything that you have for this person in a downloadable report. It's great for research purposes. So you can see, here's what I've done on David Vincent Leclerc. Here's what's left to do as far as the recommendations go. This little sneaky kind of icon here is Family Search. So you have the option to sync this person with the person in your family search tree. So this is going from your tree out to Family Search. And I'll show you if we have time, I'll show you how to import additional generations from your Family Search tree. Can't do that here because I didn't import this person from Family Search. You can only do that with the people you've imported from Family Search for obvious reasons. Okay, so video, you can create a video here. You can see there's options for voiceover and preview, and then you can share that video on social media. So lots of cool stuff going on there. Here's the share button, so you can share on Facebook, other places. Really tries to anticipate everything you'd like to do with your tree information. Merge. So let's say you've imported a tree. There's lots of redundant people in the tree. You don't like redundancy because you're a good genealogist. So you want to merge records into one another. So this would be merging. If you access this from David's file, it would identify someone else. You would have to say, oh, well, there's another David Vincent Leclerc. You type that in, and it will merge that information into this record. Okay, on to edit. Edit is going to pull up a lot of this information here, and then you can just run through and edit it here. Now, obviously, you can also edit it in these fields as well. So if I expand here, I get the little pencil that you're familiar with, and you can just open that up and edit, or you can delete it. And then delete. You can delete the entire profile, which I'm not going to touch because I don't want to touch Don's tree. It's a thing of beauty. Okay, so that's all the icons. That's most of what is here. I think a lot of what is here is pretty intuitive, but if you have questions, I'll try to get to those. I just want to show you really quickly back to the family search tree, which is my own people. Let's see if we can get to this. Oh, come on. There we go. Took a little prompting. Oh, by the way, I just want to remind you that if you are importing from a Jetcom file, this is, and once it imports, you see a blank for your root person, or you see a blank for the page, just refresh. It was a little glitch I think we've solved, but some people were saying, oh my gosh, this failed to import. It's a disaster. Not a disaster. It probably did import. It's just not, it's not refreshing automatically, which it should to show the data. Okay, so we talked about how there's a limit on how many people you can import from family search. So I'm going to go to the end of line here. This is my great grandmother, who was quite a character. Oh my gosh. And here she is, Rosa. I am going to go into her profile. Now you remember the little family search icon. If I click on that, now here, see the option here is download more generations. Remember this screen? So now I can import more generations back from Rosa. Now I don't have those, but if I did, that's where I would do it. So, no limits really. You just have to go through that extra step and keep downloading. Okay, I have no clue what time it is, so I'm going to stop right here. I've probably gone over.
A little bit.
And
it's just after 4 now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic. I'll just stop right there.
Great. Well, you went over so much, Claire. That was really a deep dive into a lot of the features on AncesTREES. We did get a couple questions in the comment section, so I think we can field those now, get to at least a couple of them. Kind of going off of all the family search features that we have, Sandra wanted to clarify on getting the hints from family search. She said she'd like to get hints from family search, but she already has a solid tree on family search. Will she still receive hints if she doesn't check that second box saying a copy of your tree will reside on family search? She just doesn't want 2 duplicate trees on family search, I think.
There's a lot of kind of questions in that question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. There's a great series of questions, really. So I don't think it would duplicate her tree on family search. I think it would use her ID to locate that. So I don't know that it would serve up hints for people she already has hints for. It might. I don't want to stumble around that question. We can get her name and I can get you an answer for that. What I would do is, if it's a reasonable number of people that you want hints for, is to use that feature I just showed you for the individuals you want hints for, and go into those profiles and click that star that says, yes, I want hints for this person. Although if you don't have this checked, you're not going to get hints from the person. So you might have to do it the opposite way. You might have to check this off and then click on the individuals you don't want hints for. But let me follow up and see if I can get a better, more specific answer to that. It's a good question.
Okay, great. Yeah, we can follow up. And if we don't get to your question live, everyone out there, we can follow up if you continue to add questions to that comment section. So let's take another one. Jen out there wanted to clarify. She said, just clarifying if I heard correctly, that living people in a tree will not be visible publicly to anyone, even if you have a public tree.
That's correct. They
Okay,
will not. So the date, if you put in living people in your tree, no one will see them, even if you have a public tree. So they will, your deceased people will be exposed. If you have the premium plan, neither living nor deceased people will be exposed.
okay, great. That's a great clarifying point there. And then Stephanie asked, and you went over a lot on the individual ancestors profile, how to add dates and events there. Stephanie is still researching some lines, and she was wondering about how to update a tree that's already loaded onto AncestTREES. I think maybe the one thing you didn't go over was like adding a new person um, to a tree. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there's a number of ways to do that.
Okay.
And one of these ways is just to add it right here.
Okay.
So you go to where you want, where that person would logically fall, and that's where you would add that new person.
Great. And then you
So
could
we'll
add
have
more
to,
details.
yep. So this is how to do that. If you have more questions about that, we can answer that.
Yes, yeah, Stephanie, feel free to reach out to us if you have specific info that you'd like to upload, and we can help you with that. So I think that takes care of all the questions in the comment section. I want to thank you, Claire, because you really went over, I had thought of a couple questions I had, and I think you really covered so much. I hope that it was helpful for everyone out there. Like I mentioned, continue adding your questions on Facebook or email us. We are here to help as you use AncestTREES. There might be features or reports or things like that that we didn't get to, and hopefully we'll continue to update you with other programming on this feature as well. Thank you, Claire, for your demo and answering the questions. I have a couple closing announcements and words before we head off. Before you leave any other feedback in that comment section. Your feedback really helps as we continue our virtual programming. Our next Facebook Live is with genealogist Melanie McComb, who's going to discuss and demonstrate how to use the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society immigration records in our collection, also known as HIAS. So I hope you'll join us back here on Facebook on Friday, August 27th. That's from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time as well. And we also have a couple exciting offers to plug, both valid through the end of the month, July 31st. First, just for our Facebook Live viewers, we have created a member discount. If you're not already a paid American Ancestors member, you can receive $20 off a new membership. You can either enter promo code Facebook721 at checkout, or I'll put a specific link in the Facebook comment section in just a second for you to click right through and take advantage of that offer. So also through July 31st, we're offering 20% off any of our book titles in the American Ancestors online bookstore. So we'll add a link to the comment section for that as well. You can visit shop.americanancestors.org to browse all of our titles, and I hope you find something good there before the end of the month. Finally, we have another great virtual program, our virtual summer research stay at home, August 12th through 14th. So this is 3 jam-packed days of one-on-one consultations, lectures, demos, and more, all from the comfort of your home. We'd love for you to join us for that next month. If you'd like to access more information about that event or other upcoming programs and resources, you can visit the Brew Family Learning Center center at americanancestors.org/education. So I want to thank you all again for tuning in today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Feel free to reach out if you have other questions or need our assistance with anything, and we'll see you online soon.
Bye, everyone.